Hello and welcome to another episode of In the Spotlight. I am joined today by Greg Traynor, who comes to us out of Cincinnati, Ohio. He currently serves the greater Cincinnati area as well as northern Kentucky. Greg has got a wealth of experience and knowledge that he brings not only to his business, but also to our CDRE community. Greg's been in real estate in the industry for over 34 years. He has overseen or managed more than 60,000 real estate related transactions. Greg obtained his bachelor's degree from Thomas More University. He also obtained his certified divorce real estate expert credential in 2022. And just prior to that, he obtained his certified probate real estate specialist credential as well. Greg is certified through the Ilumni Institute to provide continuing legal education through our ISB, Ilumni Speakers Bureau, to provide continuing legal education to family law attorneys and groups. Greg is currently the principal owner and broker of Wyndham Lions Realty Services, where he runs the brokerage, but he's also got his own real estate team. And prior to that, which is very significant in working in family law, he was the owner and manager of a title company that is now known as Stewart Title for about 16 years. So he's got a lot of inside information into the title industry. He's also a member of his local bar association. So I could go on and on about you, Greg. But certainly I think that covers enough to know that you bring a wealth of expertise and experience to our group. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Greg, tell us a little bit. I mean, I already gave a little sneak peek into your business. You run a brokerage. You've also got a real estate team. Tell us a little bit about the structure, what your business was like before you got into the divorce real estate space, and what it's like now.
Yeah, Wyndham Lions Realty Services is I would say, boutique type brokerage. We have 18 agents. I do have a team that I run under the brokerage, which I have three other licensed real estate agents, transaction manager slash marketing professional that helps out with all of our monthly and weekly marketing to the attorneys and family law practitioners. Before, I guess the question was, what was life like before being a CDRE and joining the Alumni Institute? Um,
Yeah.
I've been on the real estate side. I spent 20 years in the title side of the business, and in 2006 decided to move over after I sold the title company to the real estate side of the business. And I always had a strong passion for divorce, uh, real estate transactions. And we were joking a little bit earlier. It's not really a joke, but it's true. I really tried when I got on the real estate side of the business to entrench myself as the expert for the family law practitioners when they had a divorce case, and realized after I saw Laurel on a video on YouTube with Brandon Mulrennan that I had spent a lot of time doing it incorrectly. I spent a lot of years trying very hard to get the trust of the legal community to send me their clients so I could help them get their property sold and to allow them to bookend uh, that chapter of their life and to be able to move on. And never, when we were talking about what type of numbers, it was really easy to quantify that. I got zero, absolutely zero referrals. I spent all that time from 2006 until 2022 really wondering why I could never get a referral from any of those family law practitioners. And when I saw that video, I realized that I'd done it completely incorrectly, and I was advocating for one of the parties, and I wasn't a neutral. And that's really the key to the CDRE system, is being a neutral third party that doesn't advocate for one of the parties over the other. So that's what built the trust in the family law community. And when I was able to get my ISB or become certified as a speaker, that we had the opportunities that came in from the certification and getting the education out, but until I became an ISB certified CDRE, that truly swung the doors open to not only do they trust what the process is and we've educated them, but now we're standing in front of entire bar associations and law firms and getting those opportunities to demonstrate that we are the experts in this industry, and there really is no other choice on their case files than selecting a CDRE or suggesting a CDRE. So it's gone from zero to, when we go over the numbers, 25% of my total business comes from the divorce side of the industry, let alone the other referrals that come in that aren't divorce related from those same family law practitioners, which I'd say it's about half if you total them all together. Half of my GCI comes from that 2022, actually it's 2021 when I saw the video, to joining and coming into the class in early 2022 to get my CDRE
Wow. So
designation.
your business effectively doubled.
Yep.
It sounds like if half of your business is now attorney
Yep.
focused. And so we were chatting earlier, and your attorneys in, every market has its own little
Yes.
nuances. And so in your market, you were explaining that family law attorneys is not at all uncommon. In fact, it's very common for divorce attorneys there to cross over
Yep.
into probate and estate
Yep.
law and so forth. So when you're working with one attorney, it's really crossing over into those other areas of law as well that certainly need a realtor and certainly need a real estate expert. And a lot of your I'd love for you to speak a little bit about the skill set that you've learned as a CDRE that is maybe parlayed into some of those other niches as well.
Oh my goodness. I could go on for hours about the skill set that's learned, and you could probably see some of the books and things behind me. I think I still have them. But the conflict resolution is a huge portion of it. Before I became a CDRE, I did not realize how ill-equipped I was because I didn't get those cases or opportunities to have those cases in front of me to handle conflict. And I think without that training, that I would have dropped the ball completely on not knowing how to de-escalate an angry party in the transaction, sometimes even the attorneys, how to de-escalate them, how to keep the transaction on track, having a process that you use a consistent process that you stick to and you do not deviate from start to finish. Luckily, I spent from 2006 to 2022 not messing things up because I didn't have an opportunity. And all the while, Laurel was making a process for us to follow to make sure you learned all those hard lessons so I didn't have to. So if I follow the process through start to finish,
Yeah.
then it goes so much smoother than I could have ever. I couldn't have thought of those things unless I spent 20 years doing, or 20 plus years like you have, Laurel. So,
What are a couple of things that and I'm glad, by the way, that my scratches and bruises have not been in vain. They've gone on to
yep.
they've gone on to help you hopefully avoid them. Um, what are some of the specifics that you've learned that you do that have impacted and have helped you effectively work with divorcing clients?
As far as making sure that we start the process early and try to educate the attorneys early on to get us involved. Don't wait until, usually the real estate comes far after, the initial consultation with their clients. They're finding out what assets they have. If there's children involved, then the real estate, of course, becomes a very late component to the transaction when it really shouldn't. And we try to educate our attorneys. You need to get the real estate professional involved up front, not only for our ability to consult with them about whether or not a spouse can buy one of the other spouses out if they have the wherewithal, and working with a CDLP partner but also working with our title partners to make sure that we're pulling title, because it's so often that we find that the clients know that they have a mortgage or second mortgage, but if they're self-employed, they didn't know that they have a federal tax lien or state tax lien. They didn't pay their workers' comp. There's filings, and those things can really, when it comes time for the real estate to be sold, there's usually an urgency, whether it's the mortgage is past due, or somebody needs to get out and the other spouse needs the money. We can't afford to have those delays. So educating, knowing how to educate our law or family law practitioner partners that we need to be part of this process from the very beginning. Even if you don't need me for a year and a half, that's fine, but just get us involved so we can help both of the parties when it comes time to dispose of the real estate, be prepared for it, and not suffer delays.
Yeah. And I find not everybody, it's not necessary, it's common knowledge for us, Greg, because we work in the industry, but it's not common knowledge among those that just walk around in, in civilization, that having unpaid workers' comp or having tax liens actually do impact the sale of the house, and those need to frequently be paid or otherwise released through the sale of the house. A lot of people don't realize it attaches to the house.
And sometimes they may have already been paid off but not released, but it still doesn't keep in. We discussed earlier about how in Ohio and Kentucky right now, our state tax and the federal tax takes 60 days to get a payoff, or sometimes it's just a common name. It's a Robert or a Jane Smith, and they send a request. The title company cannot close until the state gives them a statement saying, wrong John Smith, wrong Jane Smith. But 60 days, and we're a round table and buyer dictated title area. So the buyer's agent is the one that writes the title company in. We have to change that because we can't allow the title company that's not trained in divorce real estate wait until 1 week before the closing to order the title and the payoffs. So those are things that we've had to change when we have those cases here. And our buyer's agents are fairly accommodating. When we don't tell them exactly why, because there's confidentiality, even though it's public record, but we'll tell them, hey, there's circumstances that require that we use the title company. We already have the title work, we already have the payoffs in, so it'll be seamless.
What does it do to a case? I mean, we know what it does to the real estate transaction, where you're supposed to close in 30 days once you go under contract, typically. And just like you said, maybe 21 days into that 30-day escrow or closing period is when they uncover oftentimes that there are these, for example, a state tax lien. Now you've got to start the 60-day clock on getting the payoffs or the demand released, which means now that you can't perform under the contract. You've got to get an extension. Hopefully the buyer can wait. What is that going to do to their rate lock, to all kinds of things? But nevertheless,
they have to sell, have to sell their house and get out. They've got occupancy issues. Can we keep this buyer engaged? There's just so many different things that if we're not prepared and the attorney doesn't work with us up front on getting us engaged and getting us prepared, that there may be an urgency. We see a lot of our divorce cases where the mortgage is delinquent. Not having this work done up front could cause everybody to lose the home because we can't get the payoff in time to not stop the foreclosure.
So what does this do? We know what it does to the real estate side, divorce or not. We know what it does to that. What does it do to a family law case when there is this surprise on title? What does it do to maybe the work that they've all done to get to that final judgment, or maybe the case is still ongoing? What does it do getting this information late in the game?
It's definitely going to derail the case in as much as that delay. Typically, again, the real estate usually comes at the tail end of that case file, And it's not just wrapping up the entire divorce and allowing the parties to move on, but frankly, the attorneys don't get paid most of the time until the biggest asset gets liquidated, which is the real estate. So, from the attorney standpoint, they're going to delay getting paid for all that work that they've done. And not just looking at the 60 days for them, they're looking at more time tacked on to the end of that because it's going to be protracted. If we have to go back on market, we may not be talking about 60 days. We may be talking about another 120 days. The way our market's going right now with days on market, and then it seeing that it's come back on market, we've got to explain to every subsequent purchaser and real estate agent why did it come back on the market. So they think something's wrong with the house. So there's so many, there's hundreds of different side effects of not being prepared up front, especially for the
Yeah.
case with child support
Yeah.
and family. The kids may be trying to change school districts, and it's not possible if you do this. It's just, it's many.
Yeah, it's many. It's a colossal atom bomb on the whole entire
Yep.
thing when you find something out like this
Yep.
at the 11th hour. Um, what advice, would you give to an agent who says that they want to get into the divorce niche? We get a lot of calls. You may also get people who reach out to you because they know what you do, and they say, I'd like to get into the divorce
Yep.
niche. Knowing what you know now, what do you tell them?
First and foremost, look up the definition long game in the dictionary because this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. Change your track shoes over to something more comfortable and be willing to put in the work. This isn't a magic wand. We get sucked in to so many things as real estate agents where you got this magic wand, somebody's just going to sell it to you for a few bucks, and all of a sudden all this works and the business is going to come into you. That doesn't happen. Being a CDRE, real estate attorneys, not real estate, family law practitioners have a high level of distrust for most anybody, let alone realtors. So you have to prove yourself to them, and you're not going to knock on their door and they're just going to give you a stack full of their client list to be able to give a call. You've got a lot of work to do. This is a completely different niche that you have to have a different business plan for. So again, be patient, stick to the plan, stick to the program and the methods, and don't just expect that this is going to happen overnight. But when it does happen, this is a non-economic, it's recession proof, basically. That's the words I'm looking for. These referrals will come in. If you can build that trust in the legal community, then it's ongoing for a long time. So it is the long game, but it pays off so much.
So since you since you got your CDRE in 2022, your attorney business it has essentially doubled
Yes.
your overall
Yes.
production. So it took a while, and there's usually a trajectory that's not fun. That your first year, sometimes your first 2 years, it takes a while to gain flight, but now you're at a point where it's literally doubled your production, and it will just continue. We find that year 3, year 4, it just continues to compound. It's kind of like compounding interest.
And
Yeah.
it's the comparison to the marathon. I mean, you're going to work, you're going to work, you're going to hit the wall, and then you're going to have that breakthrough. And our breakthrough again was the ISB, and I cannot emphasize or encourage all the CDREs that are out there to look into and join being a speaker through ISB. That turned it immediately from winning the trust, getting opportunities, and having dribs and drabs of business coming in, to you are the professional in that industry that I need to search out and put my clients in front of. Even the court invites us in to speak for them. So not only the CDRE system, but the ISB that's so powerful. So powerful.
So to an attorney who may be listening, what is the ISB? What can you provide to an attorney?
So the Ilumni Institute already supplies, if you're in the Master Club, our attorneys get the monthly online CLE courses, which are just amazing. But when you're an ISB, I can actually come to your office. We can do it off-site. We can do a mix of online and at your office. But we have a couple different courses that we do. The main course that we do for most of our law firms is how to not make the same mistakes that a lot of family law practitioners do in a divorce case, and endangering the equity for the client. It's an amazing course that can teach the legal community, again, how to work better with the real estate professional, to make sure that we don't misstep into different things that can sink the client's equity in the end. Every law firm that we've presented this to has just been blown away by that course that you've created, Laurel. We also have another mini course that's an introduction that I believe we're working on getting that with CLE credits as well. But it's just part of what we do in the ISB to help the legal community not only get educated on how we can work together, but actually get credits for it.
It's awesome. What advice would you give to family law attorneys? What are some of the things after getting into the business that that attorneys maybe don't know or should be educated on, that maybe even the real estate industry has failed to educate lawyers on, that they need to know about real estate?
Getting the real estate professional, the CDRE, involved at the very beginning of the case, for a couple different reasons. One is getting some semblance of the valuation of the property. CDREs we provide what's called a broker price opinion. A lot of places call it a fair market valuation. But it'll give you a better idea of what the property's worth, because Zillow is not the place to go. Zillow has a 30% chance of being within 30% of the actual value. There's a website that actually shows how inaccurate that Zillow's estimates are. So get the real estate professional, the person who does this every day, to give you some indication of value so you can start your case properly. And then second is making sure that you're working with your real estate professional that has the relationship with the title agent, to get that title pulled at the very beginning of the process. The first step out of the gate is you can rely on us to get deeds, to get copies of legal descriptions, whatever the courthouse records that you need, because we do have those partnerships with the title agents that have also been trained on how to work with divorcing couples. But we also get the payoffs up front. Those payoffs, the statements that your client handed you probably doesn't have any deferral agreements that they've had with the bank. There's been some unique situations with some lenders who don't even put it on any type of statement. So us getting a payoff up front will actually show what that deferment of any payments were during the life of their mortgage, or any liens. Those clients aren't going to know about state, federal tax liens. They're going to know their mortgages. Sometimes they don't even know their mortgages. They thought it was an auto loan, and their lender put a HELOC on their house. So that car that they bought really isn't that person's car. It's a debt on the house that's jointly owned. So just get us involved up front.
Yeah,
Real estate portion.
Proper discovery so that they can get
Yep.
accurate information, and they're dealing with facts that are verified
Yes.
early on is going to help their cases. And what advice would you give to someone who is going through a divorce on their real estate issues?
So in the real estate issues, again, ask your real estate attorney to suggest somebody that is going to be a neutral party in the transaction. And there's only one certification that trains a real estate professional how to be neutral. Nobody wants to feel like the real estate agent that may be a friend or a family member of the other party, college, high school, old buddy with, is going to favor one party over the other. So a CDRE is trained to be a neutral and assure that both parties are protected and one person's not getting treated more favorably than the other. It actually has a process behind them to protect that. So ask your attorney for somebody that is a certified divorce real estate expert that's a trained neutral.
And just for our editors, just to correct, I think you said initially you said ask your real estate attorney,
I'm
and I
sorry,
think you
I keep
mean
saying that.
ask your divorce
Yes,
attorney, right?
so you can run that again.
Yeah. Okay. So just say ask your divorce attorney, or do you call it family law attorney,
Yes.
whatever. Ask your about who to hire. Let's go ahead and do that part again.
My suggestion would be to ask your divorce attorney to suggest somebody that is a trained, neutral, third party real estate professional. The only the only certification in our industry that has that training is a CDRE from the Ilumni Institute.
Good. Excellent.